The Verdict, a Sidebar production, hosted by Kent Myers and Mick Cornett. As a part of its traditional and continuing commitment to public and community service, Crow & Dunlevy sponsors The Verdict. Also sponsored by Delta Dental, Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, and C.H. Guernsey & Company. Each week on The Verdict, we present an objective discussion of contemporary and legal issues, topical issues that will affect Oklahomans in their daily lives. The Verdict, a Sidebar production.
And welcome to The Verdict. I'm Mick Cornett, and as always, I'm joined by one of Oklahoma's top legal experts, Kent Myers. And Kent, today's show is a political debate.
It is. We're pleased to offer our viewers contrasting views on a very important statewide office, the Office of State Labor Commissioner, which has a lot of duties that affect literally hundreds of thousands of Oklahomans. And we have the both Democratic and Republican candidates with us today. Kind of the ground rules will be that we will, in the first segment of questions, you and I will ask our candidates and our guests questions. They'll answer, and the other candidate will have an opportunity to respond. In the second segment, we'll have a little bit more spontaneity in that they will be able to ask each other a question and obtain an answer. And then we'll let the candidates sum up their views for our viewers. And at the end of the show, we're going to ask you to go to our website and vote. But let's get to the introduction of our candidates. Across the table from me is the incumbent Labor Commissioner, the Honorable Brenda Reneau Wynn, a resident of Edmond, Oklahoma. She's twice been elected Labor Commissioner. She's a Republican. She's married, has 3 daughters, 1 granddaughter. When she won the Republican nomination this time, she obtained 64% of the vote. And in 1998, she was the top vote getter in the state on any ticket for any office, and has obtained more votes in that election than any Republican in the history of the state of Oklahoma. Welcome to The Verdict, Brenda.
Thank you, sir.
On my right is the Honorable Lloyd Fields. Lloyd is a resident of McAllister, a small business owner, a member of the House of Representatives for 10 years, and he's chairman of the Commerce, Industry, and Labor Committee of the House of Representatives. Lloyd is married, has 3 daughters and 1 granddaughter, and when Lloyd won, he won the Democratic nomination with 66% of the votes, and in that election got more votes than any other candidate, Democratic or Republican. So we have 2 real vote getters here today. And Lloyd, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. All right, when we return, we will get down to business. A political debate between the 2 candidates for State Labor Commissioner, Brenda Reneau Wynn and Lloyd Fields. You're watching The Verdict with Mick Cornett and Kent Myers.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
The Verdict is pleased to have as a sponsor C.H. Guernsey & Company, providing architectural and engineering services to clients throughout the U.S. and around the world.
And Blankenship has stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play, leaving it 4th and 7 on the Tiger 46-yard line. 38 seconds on the clock. The Tigers have no choice but to go for it. Wiggins had to do the kicking. Here's the snap, and the kick is away.
All children deserve a life of hope and love. But sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all of the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. Oklahoma Lawyers for Children has over 350 of the best attorneys and volunteers in Oklahoma County who donate their time and services to represent children. For more information, call 405-23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
We are C.H. Guernsey & Company. We provide engineering, architecture, and consulting services to clients across the nation and around the world. Our corporate headquarters are located in Oklahoma City, and we have branch offices across the country, including Tulsa. We have provided quality service to clients for nearly 75 years. At Guernsey, we believe in quality work and unconditional client satisfaction. To learn more about C.H. Guernsey & Company, log on to our website at chguernsey.com.
This face catches our attention, but this number will catch the attention of political candidates. 90% of Oklahomans say they will vote for candidates who support early childhood issues. Sadly, not all the candidates have told us where they stand on these issues. Find out which candidates have plans to strengthen families with young children, offer preschool, improve the quality of child care, and ensure school readiness. Young children can't vote. They need you on November 5th. Paid for by Oklahomans for Future Progress.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, who's going to ask our first question of this debate.
I'd like to direct the first question to our guest, Lloyd Fields. Lloyd, on your website and in some of your campaign materials, you have referred to yourself as, if elected, you will be a hands-on labor commissioner.
Correct.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's kind of like whenever I first got elected to the House of Representatives. You know, there's no school you can go to be how to be a legislator, and so I didn't know anything. And I went in and started running bills and trying to address the problems and getting different views from different people that elected me from the different person that was there before me. And so that way you get to think outside the box of what's there and what there is to do. So by saying I'm a hands-on labor commissioner is to say that I'll be able to get certified as a boiler inspector, be able to be certified as an amusement park inspector, be able to even sit in and reside in hearings as a judge, because you are a commissioner and you're allowed to do that in disputes of workers' comp and wage and hour disputes. So that's what I mean, is that I can think outside the box by going in, not knowing what's all there, by trying to adjust to what's in there and get different points of view and take it to the next level and hopefully be at a better job for the people of Oklahoma, as I've done in the past in the state representative job.
Brenda, your response?
Well, I do have experience. I do know what the labor laws are. I know what the administrative rules are. I know what the job entails, and I'm very proud of an 11-page report on the mighty deeds of the reforms at the State Labor Department since I've been there by an independent group that did that this past year. The reforms that we made at the Labor Department have been very significant. We brought it from no technology up to being current in our technology, so I'm proud of that. Representative Fields is not qualified and cannot serve or be a boiler inspector, and he cannot be an amusement ride inspector and be commissioner of labor at the same time, so he's out of luck on that.
Brenda, Oklahoma has the 6th highest rates for workers' comp, yet we're 47th in benefits. Should we go to an administrative system?
Absolutely. We're one of the few, I think we're one of 3 left in the country that still uses the court system the way we do. And the thing that I think bothers folks most, and it certainly bothers me, is that the system we use now drains money from the money that could go to the injured workers and puts a lot of money in other people's pockets, such as lawyers. We've been unable to get true workers' compensation reform through the state legislature. I don't think that it's going to come through the legislature until term limits kicks in, and we have some new lawmakers who are willing to vote for it. In the meantime, if we could somehow go to an administrative system, injured workers would get to keep more of their money, and I'm very in favor of that.
Lloyd, your response?
The workers' rights is what you have to really look at whenever you talk about going to administrative, and they still have the process to go through of being the civil and have representation. The mandatory arbitration court is something that's out there. We passed it in '96 in one of the reform bills. The offer of that was to temporarily be in effect where you don't have to, but you can. And so it's out there, and it's something that needs to be looked at. Yes, it sure does.
Okay. And Lloyd, a question for you. Is right to work an issue in this commission campaign for labor commissioner?
No, because right to work has nothing to do with the Department of Labor. Right to work is something that is done between a employer and a union of a contract. The thing that best says it is the contract that you have with an employer, and if you have a dispute, then you go to the unions and they work it out. In the Department of Labor, that's in the private sector, you have those same opinions to do that, but it's not with a contract. It's just, so no, the Department of Labor has nothing to do with unions or right to work. And right to work, the only part of that issue comes up is if the play on it of what the media has put out there, and that Ms. Reneau supported it and I didn't.
Brenda, what do you think?
The Department of Labor has no jurisdiction over collective bargaining agreements and union workplaces at all. Right to work to me was an issue about freedom, freedom of association, freedom to own the fruits of your labor, and nothing more than that. I was not of the opinion that it was going to be a panacea to all the problems we have in the state. It certainly won't. There are several things that we need to address. But certainly I think folks should own the fruits of their labors. We are 46th in this nation in average annual wages.
You're up. Time's up.
Well, let me ask you another question. Is there a need for a labor department? It is constitutionally mandated now. Mm-hmm. Should it be phased out? Should there be a constitutional change to do away with the labor department?
The labor department is there because the people decided they wanted it there, obviously, through the Constitution. I don't think it should be phased out as an agency with all the services that it offers. There are some services we offer that certainly could be placed at other agencies. There are also other agencies' services that could be placed at the Department of Labor. Over a period of time, if the legislature so chose, they could take each and every service at the Labor Department, place it somewhere else. But certainly we need to not lose the good services that we provide to the workers of the state of Oklahoma and to the businesses of the state of Oklahoma right now. It would take a study that would be should be very carefully thought out and should not be rushed into, something very measured that would ensure the protection of how well those services are delivered now.
Lloyd, your response?
No, I don't believe that the Department of Labor should be phased out. I think the Department of Labor is a asset to the people of Oklahoma, and a few changes needs to be made in that respect of the Department of Labor along the lines of self-employment cards. That's something that needs to be really looked at, because there's a way to make that work and make it work better, and a lot of people have a lot of heartburn over that, especially people like me that's self-employed. So
let me jump in and get us to a break. We're talking to the two candidates for State Labor Commissioner, and they are Brenda Reneau Wynn and Lloyd Fields. We'll be right back. You're watching The Verdict.
We are so pleased to congratulate Crow and Dunleavy for their support of the arts and culture in our community and the whole state of Oklahoma. Particularly, we are pleased that they have given us the opportunity to promote the Arts Power campaign on the television show so that we may bring art and music teachers back to our elementary schools all over the state of Oklahoma. Happy anniversary, Crow Dunleavy. We are proud of you.
American Express Tax and Business Services. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. American Express Tax and Business Services. In Oklahoma City, the phone number is 405-843-5311.
St. Gregory's University has been changing the lives of people like me for 125 years. Affordable private Catholic education balanced with dedication to community and service, makes St. Gregory special. We're extremely proud of our students' outstanding academic achievements and our nationally ranked athletic teams. It's when you help a student build a future of balance, integrity, and service that you change a life forever. St. Gregory's, a community for life.
Mick Cornett and Kent Myers back on The Verdict. We're hosting a debate between the two candidates for State Labor Commissioner, Brenda Reneau Wynn and Lloyd Fields. Kent, where are we here?
Well, we're going to employ a procedure that has been favorably received by our viewers in the past, and that's where we allow the candidates to ask each other a question, a single question, and hopefully obtain an answer. And after that, we'll ask the candidates to sum up. I want to start by having Brenda ask Lloyd a question of your choice.
Lloyd, during my administration, every budget that I submitted to the committee that you have served, or that you, and also chaired at times, you all voted to decrease the funding for important things like inspections and for important things like our Safety Pays program. In fact, you criticized openly the Safety Pays program, yet now you say that you think it should be advertised more. Why would you decrease it and minimize it during my administration when it was a program that I started, but now in your campaign material you say that it's one that needs to be advertised more, when you actually crippled that program when it was becoming very successful? It is successful. It's the most successful in the nation.
Well, no, you're mistaken. I don't chair the subcommittee of appropriations that deals with that. I chair the Commerce, Industry, and Labor, the committee that you come to with bills, not appropriations. And as far as the amount of monies that was being spent and the timing that was being spent is what was critical of the legislature, is that by you using it as a campaign slogan to put your name out there and put your picture out there, that's what we had the heartburn with. And we have to protect the taxpayers' dollars. And we felt that the Safety Pays program is a good program.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I'm on that board too, if you remember. But you've been to a couple of the meetings, I know, and I've been to quite a few of them. But with that, the Safety Pays program is one of the greatest programs out there. But the problem with it is that it's not to everybody, and you have not shown it to everybody. And we need to get that to everybody because it helps workers' compensation, lower the rates, better safety records in all the states.
Thank you, it does.
But that's something that you haven't promoted enough of. It needs to go further. That's why I said earlier, you just think outside the box, bring it to more people, and not always do the same old thing. Even you said down in McAllister, if you keep electing the same old people, you get the same old results. I'm here to prove that, and I want to do that.
Lloyd, your chance to ask Brenda a question.
Okay. Ms. Reneau, back in 2000, you asked the people of Oklahoma that you wanted to run for lieutenant governor, and it was in the Tulsa World, or the Daily Oklahoman, that you felt like that's what you wanted to do, and you accomplished everything you could accomplish in the role of the labor commissioner to run for lieutenant governor. And then in the Tulsa World, you told them before the primary that you was favorable of having an appointee of a labor commissioner, and then you turn around the next 2 days and said, no, you don't. And the Tulsa World, which, by the way, you're the only one that they've ever revoked the endorsement.
What's your question, Lloyd?
The question is that have you been there 8 years, so how would you now disperse the Department of Labor like you've been there 8 years to do, and now you say you think it should be, so why not 8 years you haven't done that? I just like your honest answer.
Why would I disperse it?
Well, you've said in the past that in the last couple of debates we've already had, you said that you think that you could take the Department of Labor and move it to different parts. Well, you've had 8 years in office to do that, but Representative Pope brought it up during the campaign. Is that just a campaign whim, or is it something you think honestly needs to be done because you've had 8 years to do it?
I've never set out to dismantle the Department of Labor, and I don't think the Department of Labor ought to be an elected position for reasons just like this. The Department of Labor should be an appointed position by the governor. The governor's powers are too weak, I think, in the state as it is, regardless of who the governor is. They're just too weak. I did announce that I wanted to seek the office of Lieutenant Governor should Mary Fallon had sought the office of Governor. And then Steve Largent came back to town. But the main reason I wanted to seek the office of Lieutenant Governor was to advance the issue of right to work and workers' comp reform. And I intended to serve. The Constitution of the state of Oklahoma says that the Lieutenant Governor shall serve over or preside over the Senate. And as Lieutenant Governor, that's what I would have done, and I would have brought forth right to work issue, and I would have brought forth workers' comp reform, and we would have gotten it. We wouldn't have played games in the legislature that go on now. Since we did pass right to work, since Mary Fallon did not move on, and since the folks I went back to, my supporters, asked me to run for office again, and I do love my job, I'm seeking the office, and I ask for voters to send me back for a third term, and they're going to see some true workers' comp reform this time.
I'd like to give each of the candidates now a minute and a half or so to sum up their views, and feel free to face the camera if you'd like. Lloyd?
Okay. As she said again, is that she said that she thinks it ought to be appointed. When she talked to the Tulsa World, she said it shouldn't be appointed 2 days later, and that's when they revoked her endorsement. She's the only statewide official that they've ever did that to. I'm here today to tell you that I should be the labor commissioner because, one, I can think outside the box and take it to the next level for the new century that we are out here facing of technology and learning of our kids in our schools, because they need to know what's going on with the Department of Labor and why the safety is so important, not just for their safety, but also for the environment and also for the economy of the state of Oklahoma and the business that they work at. This is a time in our nation that is dire needs for everybody. And this is why I'm running for labor commissioner in the state of Oklahoma, because it's something that has to be promoted more and more in every asset of all the workers and all the businesses in the state of Oklahoma. The one thing that I find pretty distressing to me is that if you have a commissioner that on a whim decides that because it's the thing to do of dispersing a agency, or it's a thing to do to say that it should be appointed, and then you turn around and you don't do that, I find that pretty distressing to me. I am qualified to do this job, and I could be the person to be out there in the field to look at your water heaters, to do boiler inspections, not just certify it, but to be out there in the field with those people and also sit in on as being a judge in administrative courts. There's no reason why I could not do that. There's nothing in the law that says I cannot do that. That's why I know that I could be the person that would be hands-on to make sure that the people of Oklahoma are served well enough with the people that we have out there in our department as being the labor commissioner to do a job that we need to have done.
Brenda?
Well, as labor commissioner, I have the experience, and I've certainly shown a successful record of representing folks, and we have collected more in back wages than any state labor department in history. We've done more workers' compensation enforcement inspections than any administration in history. We now, today, operate that agency on a smaller budget comparatively than it ever has, with fewer employees, and we get more done. We are leading this nation in safety pays consultations, and contrary to what Representative Fields says, and I understand he wants the job, wanting the job and being able to do the job are two different things. We have received national recognition for how well we're doing, and you have to have someone who's not just focused on working out in the field and sitting in the courtroom. You have to have someone who represents this state at a national level and at a local level, who understands the issues. Representative Fields admits he does not understand Beck rights. He did not understand that that's one of the most important, significant Supreme Court rulings in the state of this country, and I do understand those. I'm very proud of and very humbled by being labor commissioner for the state of Oklahoma, and it's my hope that the voters will agree, that they will send me back and let me show them just what we can accomplish with an experienced, dedicated commissioner who has been a blue-collar worker, and will always consider myself as a blue-collar worker representing those types of people. The Department of Labor is leaner. It is more efficient than it's ever been. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud to work with the employees there, and I've learned through being in politics, we're successful because I did have the good sense to surround myself with a lot of folks smarter than I am. We know how to get it done.
Brenda Reneau Wynn, Lloyd Fields, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Kent and I'll have a final word after this.
We are so pleased to congratulate Crow and Dunleavy for their support of the arts and culture in our community and the whole state of Oklahoma. Particularly, we are pleased that they have given us the opportunity to promote the Arts Power campaign on the television show so that we may bring art and music teachers back to our elementary schools all over the state of Oklahoma. Happy anniversary, Crow Dunleavy. We are proud of you.
And we are back to wrap up another edition of The Verdict. Kent?
We had today the two candidates for Labor Commissioner in the state of Oklahoma, and I imagine many of our viewers have little firsthand experience or exposure to the Labor Department. But they do things that are very important to our viewers and to viewers that have young children. That's the department that makes sure that the boilers in the public and private schools, which our viewers' children attend, are safe, won't blow up, won't kill or injure people. It's the Labor Department that does those inspections. When they go to the state fair, when they go to amusement parks around, those are the people that inspect the amusement rides to make sure they don't malfunction and hurt somebody. They do much more than that in relation to dealing with workers' wage claims, dealing with workers' compensation. It's a department that the people of Oklahoma decided should be part of our Constitution, and we must have. It's an important job. It's a statewide job, and Oklahoma's going to be well served with the two candidates that we had presented today.
There are no independent candidates, so these are the two candidates who will be on the November 5th ballot. I also want to remind viewers that they can go to our website and actually cast a vote for how did you think this debate turned out today. Go to our website, theverdict.tv. That's www.theverdict.tv, and tell us what you thought about this debate for Labor Commissioner. Kent, we're out of time. Thanks to our guests, Brenda Reneau Wynn and Lloyd Fields. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We'll see you next time on The Verdict.